Welcome back to Football Daily, where today we'll be taking you through 10 players who aren't the biggest fans of Pep Guardiola. 10. Yaya Toure. Some players can only dream of playing under Pep Guardiola, but one man who seemingly can't escape him is Yaya Toure. At 23, the Ivorian midfielder was at Olympiacos, emerging as one of the brightest prospects in Europe and drawing the attention of Rijkaard's Barca. A €10 million transfer was finalised and Toure became the trusted defensive anchor behind Xavi and Deco. But this wouldn't be the case when Pep took over. Coming from managing the B side, Guardiola sold the likes of Deco and Ronaldinho to bring in rising stars like Busquets and Pedro, with the former's presence eventually being Toure's downfall. And when Busquets established himself as one of the first names on the team sheet in the 09-10 season, Toure's game time suffered, playing less than 1,500 minutes in that campaign. The midfielder was aggravated, who after his move to City claimed that Pep didn't care about him until the transfer offer came in. 7 years later, they reunited and Yaya is back on the bench. Unlucky mate. 9. Mesut Ozil. How could one of the most shy footballers on the planet hold a dislike for a manager he's never even played under? Well, for Mesut Ozil, the distaste began after the 2010 World Cup, where the German playmaker established himself as one of Europe's elite talents. Barca were amongst the plethora of clubs interested in Ozil, with the player himself preferring a move to Catalonia. However, Pep Guardiola apparently wasn't that arsed, with the Barca boss always on vacation and never called or even sent the rising star a text message. Ouch. Instead of donning the Blaugrana strip, Ozil ended up at Real Madrid, where he tallied up 47 assists in 103 league games under Pep's rival, Jose Mourinho. The Spaniard will have the last laugh though, as Ozil only won a single Copa del Rey and the league title during his stint at the Bernabeu. 8. Jadon Sancho. Now, we don't claim to know the juicy details which caused City wonderkid Jadon Sancho to end up at Borussia Dortmund, but from the quotes given to the press by Pep, his departure seemed a little fishy. The City boss claimed that he, Sancho and his agent verbally agreed a deal which would see him be one of the highest earners in the academy, and shook hands to ensure the trust of the player. Ink, however, never touched the paper, and Sancho skipped City's training sessions and their pre-season tour to thrash out a deal with Derby BVB. Sancho's already played against Bayern Munich in the league for Dortmund, and the Weststadion is a perfect place for the winger to develop. Pep, however, harbours no ill towards the youngster, labelling him as a huge talent and bidding him good luck in his future endeavours. 7. Aliaksandr Hleb. A failure at Barcelona, Hleb should have been perfect for the Spanish Giants. A skilled dribbler, he played on the wing and behind Robin van Persie at Arsenal, helping the Gunners reach the Champions League final before becoming one of Guardiola's first signings at Barca, along with Dani Alves and Gerard Piqué. After 7 months, Hleb had only started 5 league games, and though he ended up winning the treble, he was not content to sit on the bench, openly courting Bayern Munich in the press. He could have won a treble again, with Inter seeking to loan him the following season, but instead returned to former club Stuttgart, before ending up at Birmingham. Unwilling to take responsibility for his disappointing spell at Catalonia, Hleb went to war with Pep, declaring, "I don't think Guardiola was the best coach in the world. He trained the best team with the best players. The best coaches are Jose Mourinho, Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger, from whom I learned more than from Guardiola." 6. Bojan. In 2007, after scoring over 900 goals for Barca's youth sides, Bojan Kirik became the youngest Blaugrana player in the history of La Liga when Franck Ribery gave him his debut against Osasuna. He went on to become the first player born in the 90s to score in the Champions League, and when Pep took over at the Nou Camp the following season, fans felt he was inheriting both the original Messi and his natural heir. Bojan made over 100 league appearances under Guardiola, but still somehow felt he had been hard done by, saying, "Guardiola didn't give me enough opportunities to show what I could do, and that hurt." Given that he was playing with Messi, Xavi and Iniesta, scoring a goal every 4 games probably indicates you weren't good enough, and the youngster can consider himself lucky to have 3 Spanish titles and 2 Champions Leagues in his trophy cabinet. He was sold to Roma, then Milan, then back to Barca, then to Ajax and finally to Stoke, arriving at his 5th and least glamorous club by the age of 24. Sorry Bojan, but even you have to admit Pep got this one right. 5. Samuel Eto'o. Unlike Bojan, no one could complain that Samuel Eto'o wasn't good enough for a Guardiola side. The striker won the treble in Catalonia in 2009 and won another the following season with Inter Milan, scoring 52 goals across the two campaigns. Despite Pep winning the league and Champions League in his first year as a top-flight coach, Eto'o felt the manager had proven nothing and objected to being told what to do. "I reminded him that he'd never been a great player," said the Cameroonian. "I told him, I'm Samuel Eto'o and I'm the one who makes you win. He was lecturing me on how to attack when he played as a midfielder." To be honest, that sounds like Eto'o doesn't understand what a coach's job is, and he and Pep reportedly spoke just 3 times over the course of their season together, before the striker jetted off to Italy. That campaign remains the only one in which Eto'o passed 30 league goals. 4. Franck Ribery. When Pep arrived at Bayern in 2013, rather than finding a team locked in a struggle with Dortmund for German supremacy, he found a squad of newly crowned European champions, and the egos to match. The Catalan had planned to turn Franck Ribery into a false 9, but after 14 assists and 10 goals in the league the previous year, the Frenchman was happy where he was. Pep's complicated system of positional play demanded a lot of players who'd been used to freedom under Jupp Heynckes, and when Pep eventually ditched Munich for Manchester in 2016, his departure wasn't mourned by all. Ribery made clear his preference for Guardiola's successor, telling the press Pep lacks experience, sometimes he talks too much. Football is very simple. Ancelotti knows how to treat his player. With him, I feel confident again. Now, that's a bit rich coming from a guy who won 3 successive titles under the Spaniard. And he changed his tune pretty quickly. Ancelotti lasted just over a year at the Allianz, and Ribery was apparently among the senior players who contributed to his departure, throwing a hissy fit when he was subbed off in a 3-0 loss to PSG. Maybe Pep and Carlo aren't the problem, maybe Franck is just a dick. 3. Joe Hart. An integral part of Mancini's side which won City's first ever Premier League title, Joe Hart's time for the Sky Blues now seems like a distant memory, much like his ability to keep a clean sheet. During his time up north, the Shrewsbury-born stopper was lauded as the Premier League's best keeper in 2012 and won 4 Golden Gloves in between City's sticks. His position as the undisputed number 1 came in jeopardy as soon as Pep joined the club, who shortly made Claudio Bravo one of the world's most expensive keepers, whilst Joe Hart was sent on loan to Torino. Both keepers were as shocking as each other, with Hart averaging 1.5 saves per goal and the Chilean a measly 1. The next summer, instead of giving Hart a second chance, Man City signed Edison for a whopping £35 million. Meanwhile, the Englishman had to settle for a West Ham loan deal. He's since proclaimed that his treatment under Pep wasn't fair and simply doesn't care about the situation anymore. Now he has to settle for David Moyes, and I wouldn't wish that fate on my worst enemy. 2. Dante. If Dante Bonfim had an inferno, Pep would be one of the first people he'd chuck into it. The centre-half was lucky enough to join in Heynckes' treble-winning season, establishing a mean defensive partnership with Jerome Boateng, conceding just 15 goals in the league whilst the Brazilian was on the pitch. So, what was the issue, you may be asking? Well, Dante was sold to Wolfsburg in Pep's last season despite being a constant starter before the move. And after the defender joined Nice, he claimed that Pep was world-class on a tactical level, but isn't good on a human level. Quickly realising what he said and how much Pep helped an unremarkable talent like him win multiple titles, Dante clarified that his quotes were taken out of context, that he has a great deal of respect for his former manager and would never speak against him. Nice try, Dante. 1. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Yep, everyone guessed it, Zlatan of course enters the list at number 1, with his war of words with Guardiola grabbing headlines across the continent. It all started after Guardiola's first season and treble with the Blaugrana, as the Catalonian wanted to add to his star-studded squad. The famous phrase, "if it ain't broke, don't fix it," comes to mind, and the Swede arrived at the new camp from Inter for £59 million and their legendary striker Samuel Eto'o going the other way. He joined other future Barca superstars like Chigrinsky and Kerrison in what was possibly the worst window in the club's history. Being shafted out wide for the greatest player in history, Zlatan's ego couldn't take it, and a feud with Pep started to begin. The striker claimed the Catalonian bought a Ferrari and treated it like a Fiat, called him a coward and said he had no balls. Despite Ibra's hatred of the bald genius, there's still an undenying respect, as he did call Pep the best coach in the world. So I hope you guys liked that video. Let us know what you thought in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed that, why not check out the video on screen right now? I'm sure it is great. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe.